Racetracks shutting down operations is usually bad news, but I've got an example for you today of where maybe this was just best for everyone. Plus, we'll talk Brad Doty Classic, XR, Lucas, and a lot more. Let's go. It's Tuesday, July 11th. I'm Justin Fiedler. This is DIRTcar Daily. We'll start your Tuesday off with a little bit of racetrack news from Tennessee. Found out yesterday that the Proffitt family that has been running Volunteer Speedway this season on a weekly basis has decided to end their promotion of the track effective immediately. Racer Vic Hill is the facility general manager, but the Proffitts had been leasing it out for the weekly programs. Under normal circumstances, I think we would take an announcement of this kind as bad news, but with what the family decided to post on Facebook, maybe this is just the best way out. Things don't seem like they had gone well at the track this season at all, and the family had clearly had enough. In the Facebook post announcing the decision, they said, quote, "To all my fellow track promoters, we made the best decision we have ever made this morning pertaining to running a track, resignation. I feel like I have been let out of jail, LOL. Think about this. Turns out we promoters really don't have to lose bunches of money and listen to constant whining from people with a smartphone that has zero idea of what this entails. It's as easy as turning it off and focusing on our happiness each weekend with family trips and relaxation. The weekly thing is dying faster than ever now anyway, so let's step away and let the ones making the money with television and huge shows provide us the entertainment. Thanks to Vic and Krista, staff, and all of our supporters, which is a good amount of people. You all had our back, and we will not forget it. To the rest of you, blank are blank. And yes, comments are off because we get the last word this time," unquote. As you could have imagined, they didn't really get the last word because that's not how the internet works, plus comments weren't really even turned off. At any rate, though, I think some people are just built to do this type of work, meaning running racetracks, doing promoting, and others aren't, and this is probably going to be a net positive for the sport of dirt racing in eastern Tennessee. It would be nice to see Bulls Gap continue to run regularly, but clearly this wasn't the right group to do it. We're still waiting on what the future is going to look like for this track. Vic and the folks at Bulls Gap still trying to figure out, about some of their events coming up this season and what the future looks like for the track. So as we know more there, we'll let you know. But happy trails to the Proffitt family. It's obviously a big week around sprint car racing. Things get rolling tonight in Ohio with the Brad Doty Classic at Attica. Tonight is a standard outlaw show with the usual format and points on the line, so guys can't really afford to already be looking ahead to Eldora, the Million, the King's Royal. Kyle Larson is the defending race winner. Donnie Schatz won at Attica earlier this season. Looks like Larson will be in attendance to defend, and I would not be shocked to see a sizable field tonight. I know some are probably planning on skipping this to save their equipment for Eldora, but Attica drew 38 back in May, and this race had 44 a year ago. Besides Larson, we'll obviously get the Outlaw regulars, a bunch of Ohio teams, and plenty of other travelers. Shane Stewart tweeted he'll be there with Bernie and the 71, and we know that Darren Pittman is coming tonight with Alex Bowman Racing and the 55 before they head to Eldora. Jake Swanson has been running that Ally 55 some this season as well with Bowman out. Supposedly he'll be hanging around this week to learn as much as he can before getting back in the car in the future. We know he's run some of those high limit shows. And since we're talking about Alex Bowman Racing, today's show is actually sponsored by ABRinc.shop. It's the official online store of Alex Bowman and ABR. They've got awesome, comfortable merchandise with new racing and lifestyle designs. They've got hats. They've got ladies' items. They've even got a sprint car dog toy over there that you can get. The store lineup includes Bowman's NASCAR gear plus a bunch of sprint car stuff. Use code TRACKER at checkout for free shipping on any order over $29.99 in the continental United States. That's TRACKR at checkout for free shipping. You can see the full line of Alex Bowman racing gear over at ABRinc.shop. All right, back to Donnie Schatz. We know that team has struggled this season, and this could be a good night to get some confidence and some momentum going before the Million and Kings Royal. Schatz leads all drivers in average finish at Attica over the past several seasons and hasn't finished outside the top 10 in 8 straight races there. And that does include 2 wins. We're also going to keep an eye on this kind of championship battle between Brad Sweet, David Gravel, Carson Macedo. Still really tied between those 3. If you can't get to Attica tonight, you can watch it live over on Dirt Vision. Last night at Dubuque, the XR Super Series drew 40 super late models for their 20,000 win show that included a good number of Lucas competitors who were coming off the Deer Creek weekend, and those same guys will head to Davenport tonight. It was a tough night for some guys. Some flat tires were an issue through the course of the feature. Both Ricky Thornton Jr. and Hudson O'Neal led laps, but both were victims of multiple flats before the race was over. Each of those guys were able to bounce back to finish in the top 5. Out front, Devin Moran led the most laps, but came up short at the end because Bobby Pierce slid by him with 3 laps to go and drove on to the win. It's obviously been a very good few days for Pierce, few weeks for Pierce. We'll see if the momentum keeps rolling tonight for him at Davenport for the Outlaw Points leader. Moran ended up second with Brandon Shepard third. Bishop was again in Kevin Rumley's R&D car as he was at Deer Creek. Hudson O'Neill maintains the series points lead. We'll see the XR Super Series again in a few weeks at Off-Road Speedway in Nebraska. That one will be a 2-day show, culminating in another 100,000 to win main event. So with XR show complete, Davenport is up next tonight as the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series rolls through for a 10,000 to win program. Tonight, Tri-City on Friday and Wheatland on Saturday are the final 3 chances for drivers to get into the top 12. As after Saturday's race, only that top 12 will still be eligible for the Lucas Chase for the championship. Should be pretty quiet, though, on that front. Not a lot of drama. Garrett Alberson currently leads Tyler Bruning by 210 points for that final spot. Like we talked about last week, it seems like the only battle that will end up mattering here is for that final spot, which Tim McCready has and Jonathan Davenport and Devin Moran want. There are currently 100 points separating those 3 drivers, so none of them can afford much in the way of bad nights. Of those 3, McCready has been the best lately with an average finish of 4.4 over his last 5 races. Davenport has been known to put on a banger or 2 as a track, so don't sleep on this show tonight. Hudson O'Neill won this race a year ago, while Tanner English won a pair of Outlaw shows at the Iowa track in 2022. Tonight's racing will be live on Flow if you cannot get there. Up at Big Diamond Speedway tonight, the Super DIRTcar Series continues their 2023 season. Matt Shepard has won 2 of the last 3 races and has climbed to the top of the championship. He leads Matt Williamson by 35 points. Tonight's race is $7,500 to win. Will be followed up this weekend by a stop at Weed Sports Speedway that will award another guaranteed feature starting spot at Super Dirt Week. So far this year, Williamson leads the way with 4 victories. Shepard has 2, and Max McLaughlin and Chris Heil have 1 each. 107 different drivers have attempted a Super DIRTcar Series race. And speaking of Super Dirt Week, a few changes are coming to that event this year, with more announcements expected in the lead-up. But this year, there is now no lap 100 fuel stop and no mandated stop at all. Competition yellows will be thrown on laps 75 and 125 if teams want to use those as opportunities to pit. And outside of the regular radio communication with the officials in the tower, teams are no longer allowed to use 2-way radios to communicate with their teams about things like pit strategy. So that should throw a bit of a wrinkle in things this season. World Racing Group also announced the winner's share of the purse has been bumped up to $51,000 for the 51st running of the event. You can see more on all of this over at superdirtweek.com. One schedule note for you today, the USAC National Midget Show at Red Dirt Raceway has been canceled for tonight because of weather. They'll try again tomorrow at the Mitchell County Fairgrounds. And for you iRacing nerds like me, the World of Outlaws late model season kicked off last night with Volusia Speedway Park. 10 rounds again, a $25,000 prize pool, and 10 grand to the champion. And this new season started very similarly to how last season went with Evan C. dominating. He led flag to flag in the main event, topping Barrett Bishop, who just got by Kendall Tucker late. If you might remember from last October, C was the 2022 series champion, but he was suspended from the season finale for going after Tucker on track in the race before. His points lead was big enough that it didn't matter, but it was still a weird situation. We'll see if C can keep his temper in check this year. You can watch these iRacing shows on Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern for free on Dirt Vision and YouTube. That's it for the show today. Make sure you check out the streaming schedule over at DIRTtracker.com if you're trying to find something to watch. Hope you guys have a good Tuesday out there. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.